Today is December 1st. I apologize. I'm lost in my own stuff sometimes where I'm neither here nor there. I'm just kind of piecing together this fragmented mind of mine. Um and I'm doing better at it because I am now committed to my daily videos, whether they're readings or insight. And I recognize that what I say comes out a certain way. And I realize that effective um, communication is important. So it's just funny how that works out. And I don't edit or rewatch my videos. I don't script anything. It's very much from my heart, and it just comes out. And just figuring out how to articulate it a lot of times is difficult for me because I'm making sense of it. It's registering at the same time. And that's when I'm like, oh yeah, you're recording this. And I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to make a million recordings trying to get the right one. So I load it. And that's what you get. So anyway, I'm just going to. So some of the insight that I came across last night in my full moon meditation was the acceptance of some things that were coming up for me that felt familiar. It was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is repeating itself again. And then I connected the dots to like previous stuff, but it's like, these are way different situations, not even the same people involved. Why am I doing this? And it was clarity. It didn't feel good. I recognize that, but it was the clarity that allowed me to work through it and see it as a limiting belief that has created this person that I am today and how I operate in the world. But it was so subconscious that I think it's not there anymore, that it's been dealt with and it's not an issue and it's not a struggle that I have, but it was magnified last night. And there was nothing happening around me that made it real to feel that way in that present moment. So I understood that it was from the past. And the feeling that I attached to it in the past was very painful. And when I felt that pain again, but was clear enough to see that this isn't my reality, I had to work through it. And working through it, rather than the victim mentality, why me, this happened, because I almost got stuck in that, dissecting of it. And then that pain started coming back. And it's like, no. I'm feeling it because I'm recognizing that it's there, but I'm not going back into that looping of the pain. The looping is when we're not even evolving with it. It's just the same, pattern of fear, of trauma, of, just all these negative words, right? And it just keeps happening, and it just like builds upon itself. And I was able to catch myself before I looped again, right? So I had the feeling surface, and then I was able to be clear enough to say, oh, you're still there. Well, why? What's up? What do we got to understand here? And basically, it was me disconnected from it for the first time, even though it was still there, which was different for me because usually when a trauma becomes a memory to me, I can view it as a trauma without the emotion. But since a little emotion came with it, I recognize that this is probably surfacing in ways without me realizing it and popping up in ways that guard me from being hurt in that way again. And that is something that I've done a lot of work with, is to not allow pain to harden me to the point where I'm possibly hurting others. And that's how it works. Hurt people hurt people. They don't intend to go around hurting people, but that's just a consequence of their pain and hardening to protect a wound. And so I said, okay, let's stop this here. Let's not keep going. what do we got to understand about this? Obviously, it doesn't feel so good, so it's not completely clear, but how do we move forward without pretending this isn't happening or distraction? And I was sitting in a quiet meditation. So I'm sitting there like, okay, this energy, it's surfacing, it's magnifying it. What's up with this? And I started to understand a lot of the people around me. Like I always say, it's not always about you. It's not ever about me in my mind. Like this is for others. This is not about me. And I started to understand what everyone is experiencing right now is their own inner shit magnified without something to attach it to. And then it's like, okay, let me attach it to something. If you're not in a place where you're starting to see it as a limiting belief and something that you've already worked on possibly, but then it comes up and then, you get stuck thinking, but is it healed? If it's coming up, if it comes up with the emotion, the pain, it's not completely healed. And so I had to look at that. And a lot of the different things that I had been faced with and, overcome, I overcame so many things. And when I did it, I was surviving. It wasn't trying to build confidence or, I was surviving. And I had that clarity last night where it's like, you didn't die. That's the evidence. You didn't die. You're here. You're supposed to be. What are you gonna do with it? You're fine now. You were always fine. You just didn't act like it, and you let it, hold you back, and you let all this pain just keep, overcoming you where you couldn't be happy. And it's like, no, not anymore. I don't need to loop those same things over and over and have that pain just stagnant inside of me. So how am I going to proceed? What am I going to do with this? And so I sat there and I let it all come up, and it was like, these are the cards that I was dealt. And it's like, you need to do more with it. You didn't win this battle where you're alive still for you just to go around being alive. You got to do more with it. And it was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? I don't even know what to do. So I slept on it, and I had my guidance rock with me because this thing is so freaking powerful. So I put it next to my bed. I charged it with the full moon's light, and then I took it around 1 midnight next to my nightstand. And what came to me is that I do so much philanthropic work, like I can't even measure at this point. There's just been so many different programs and people, and it's just, I realized that I wasn't fully connected to it the way I would have liked. Like I was doing what I had prayed for, helping people, but I wasn't seeing it through in the way that I need for my soul. My soul needs it. And so I called a shelter that I work with and have for years. And most of what I do for them, I don't even do it myself. I send things. I show up unannounced often, and I'm like, don't worry about me. I don't need receipts. I'm just here to drop this off. And I'm like this ghost. People know I'm around and I exist, but it's hard to like. And I did hair at this shelter multiple times, but since I had to do so many heads, I didn't connect. I had so much time, and so it came to me in my sleep, and in this morning, it's like, you have got to do way more that is involved, where you're actually connected with these people like you needed when you were a kid. You wanted guidance. You wanted someone to see your follow through. I would do things that I was so proud of and no one saw it. And after so many years, it's like, what's the point with, and I would almost feel sad when I did something really cool that no one knew about. And I started taking that celebration from myself. And now I'm recognizing how it felt and how I can change that with the skills I've gained through, all these different things that I can go on and on, all these chapters of craziness. But they were evolving me, and they were showing me lessons that I couldn't read in a book. I couldn't, hear someone else's journey and repeat it as my own with the same passion and insight that they gathered from something they lived. I don't operate that way. I do great when I learn something myself and I believe it with everything I have and I adopt it and I am it. And that's when all the magic happens. And it's like, you have never shared this part of you because it was like you surviving. You didn't recognize the power of it because you were just trying to get by, but you got by. You're alive, you're healthy, you learned, you understand, how to make something better. Like, what are you gonna do with that? And so it was like, all this like insight was just overtaking me. So I called the shelter and it's like, so I'm the girl and I've been around for years, and I didn't even know who picked up the phone. I'm just like, I know this is weird, but I'm supposed to call and really, really get some work done in different ways. I know you guys are aware of all the stuff that I send and, programs and things like that, but I want to get to know the women. It's a women's shelter and there's children there. And they said, well, what's your expertise? She didn't realize that it was me yet. I was just like this random caller, like, so my husband and I, and this is, this is my name. And she starts bawling. Oh my God. She starts bawling and she's like, oh my God, you were on the phone. She's like, every time we get things from you and I don't see you. And she's like, you are so important to us. And I just want you to know that we need you here. Yes, we want to get to know you. Yes, because there's different women that come through. So that's part of it. And I'm like, I'm here. I always have been. But I'm recognizing it's not so much about these resources anymore. It's about the wisdom attained during my personal journey. And so that's where the magic is for me right now with things that came up, is recognizing the power that it took to overcome them and then share them in a way that isn't painful, while understanding that this person is in pain on the other end because they're not on the other end yet, and they will be soon, but they got to know that that's possible. So anyway, that's my insight. I know that's a lot, but it's what I got clarity on, and we're all having this stuff emerge, but it's what's special about us. It's our strength, it's our power, and it needs to be seen that way. And I encourage everybody, when everything's coming up, just look at all the times you were faced with it. Look at all the times that you thought you couldn't go further, and keep reminding yourself, I'm here, I got through it. I have more power than I did then, and that's the beauty of it. And allow yourself to create that story with it so that you can share it, so that you can continue to heal and recover for it, because it could be somebody's lifeline. They hear your story and how you overcame it and how it hurt so bad at the time, and they're going to feel connected and they're going to feel understood. And that's where we evolve together. I come up with these things and it's like, oh my God, I must share with whoever will listen, because it's so much bigger and greater than me. And we all have that power. We all do. We're all amazing in our own right for our own reasons. And if we're not taking that inventory within ourselves, we can't expect others to. We got to know this about ourselves and share it, because it's us releasing it and making sense of it and talking about it without that painful emotion. So right now, I'm not even upset even thinking about what I was thinking about last night. And I'm recognizing that this was the goal of it surfacing for me, is to understand that others are dealing with some heavy, difficult shit right now, but they made it through it. They are healthy enough to see something that's not happening right now. They are safe enough to have it as a memory and not be connected to it in the same way where it's looping. So That's my insight for today. I hope it helps. Have a wonderful rest of your day.